Okay, we are now live. Welcome everyone to the House Democratic Caucus. Today is January 10th, 2023. This is our new location. I hope you all find it perfect. Thanks. There's a few claps going on, but at the same time, it's new. So we're trying to adjust, make some adjustments. There will be kinks. Before I go on, I just want to quickly say my heartfelt thanks to our staff in the Sergeant at Arms office, staff in the clerk's office, our IT folks are fantastic, Capitol Police. Everyone has gone above and beyond to make sure that this space works for us. But like I said, be patient. We will have some glitches, I am certain. If you have feedback about this location that you want to share with us, come to a member of leadership, let us know, because we want to make sure this is working for everyone. This is a live mic, that's a live mic. I will ask people who I call on to come up. There are going to be some reports today. I'll ask them to use the mic. They can either use this one here or that one there, whichever one that suits you, because only one of us will be speaking at a time. Okay, I am going to go on to announcements first, and then after that, I'm going to hold one announcement till the end, and then I will go on to bill reports at the end. Okay, so I just want to quickly tell you, floor for the foreseeable future is going to be at 10 on Tuesdays, 3 on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and 9:30 on Fridays. This is going to change in a few weeks from now when bills start coming to the floor. When it changes, it will likely go to 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Floor will be 1 o'clock on Wednesdays and Thursdays instead of 3. The other 2 days, it'll stay the same, 10 and 9:30. But stay tuned. You'll get a notice from us as caucus leadership. You'll hear from the speaker's office about changes, but we're just going to play it by ear and see how quickly we have to make that change. But right now, we'll stay on that. House Rules is meeting today at 12:30. On the agenda is committee portfolios and language, as we said we would talk about last Wednesday when we were on the floor. We're going to be doing that. We also have some panel appointments that we need to do today. We're going to be voting on those. It is the Sexual Harassment Prevention Panel, Discrimination Prevention Panel, and the Ethics Panel. We are appointing members to that today. Let's see. We're also going to be discussing COVID policy. As you know, we've had some COVID already identified in the building. For those of you who didn't see, Sergeant at Arms Janet Miller sent an email out on Friday with protocols around if you do test positive, places where you can get tests, that sort of thing. So if you didn't see that email, please read it or come to a member of leadership and we'll let you know. So just want to make sure we're following all that protocol, but also that we are talking about in our Rules Committee meeting, we will be talking about whether we need to make some changes. We actually are currently under the rules that were pre-COVID. So we're gone right back to 2019 and very early 2020. So we're going to discuss about, remote participation in committees and all that sort of thing. So stay tuned. And if you don't, have time to watch the live stream today of House Rules, it will be on YouTube and you can go back to it and look at it later or come to us. Okay. There's going to be a few more trainings scheduled soon. That's going to include ethics training and discrimination prevention training. Not sure when yet, still working out the details and how they might be, one of those might be broken into multiple days. We'll see, still working on that. The forms that you were given last week, you were given a swearing in and disclosure form, 2 separate forms. They were on your desk when you came in. If you have not submitted those, and not everyone has, I found out, if you have not submitted yours, please do that as soon as possible. If you need a new one, let us know, but please do submit those. I found out some of those were very delayed last biennium, and I want to make sure that they get in very quickly this time. Okay, last, let's see. I wanted to just let you know, I mentioned already that we're back at pre-COVID operation sort of here, our protocols. For those of you who were here pre-COVID, will remember that during this caucus, sometimes folks would pass around bill sign-up sheets. You're looking for co-sponsors, you want to pass around a sign-up sheet, that's permissible, you can do that. Please bring it. If someone wants to say, I've got a bill that I would love to have co-sponsors on, I'm gonna allow you to do that if you let me know. Put your hand up, say, I want to just mention it and pass it around. But I'm gonna ask that you only say what the bill is. Don't go into details about the bills because we run out of time very quickly when we start going into details around what bills are. It's our job as legislators to make sure that we're talking to our co-sponsors and letting them know exactly what is in the bill. So do make sure that you're touching base one-on-one with folks when you're asking for co-sponsors. So feel free to start passing them around. If anybody brought sign-up sheets today, feel free to do that. We are happy to have you pass them around. Bring a pen with you and make sure you take it away with you because they disappear when that happens. But this is how we used to always operate. And many of you don't remember that. Okay, any questions about anything I just said? That was a lot. Thank you all for your patience. Is everybody okay hearing? You can hear everything good? So the House rules, the question was if the folks on YouTube didn't hear that question, the question was, are you allowed to attend in person? Right now, there's a limited number because it's scheduled for the speaker's office. So we would ask that you, please, there's, only so many people can fit in the speaker's office. So we're holding that today in the speaker's office. Please follow us online in YouTube live because it will be live streamed. If you have any questions and things you want to bring up or have us bring up as members representing House Rules, it's John Bartholomew, Kath James, and I are all members of this caucus on House Rules. So, if you have questions or things you want to bring up, please reach out to one of us. But right now, we've just booked it for the speaker's office today. But thanks for the question. Anything else? If not, I am going to give a start to our bill reporting time. So the first person up today, I asked if Diane Lanfer, Representative Lanfer, could please give us a little summary about BAA, Budget Adjustment Act. So thank you, Representative Lanfer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you for letting me have a moment. Representative Diane Lanfer, I'm going to speak to the fact that I've got a new role. Some members here are brand new and some have been here for a few years, but I've served in transportation for 6 years, House Appropriations for 6 years, and the past 2 years as chair of transportation, and I have a new role, just like a lot of us this year. So I'm currently chair of House Appropriations. I just want to, members, if you're in the room, there are 12 of us in the room, and if you could just stand up, we'll have an opportunity to meet them maybe more in depth and as we go through this. But if you could just stand up so you can recognize them, because you're never going to see us again. Pretty sure, so that you can see who they are. And we'll come to the floor. I'm going to try to see if we can come to caucuses because it's where we can also interact with you and find out what's going on. So the BAA, which is the Budget Adjustment Act, which is we're at the halfway point of the FY23 budget, and the administration came in last Friday to bring us the proposal for their many ideas of where government needs to get adjusted. So that came in on the 6th. So right now we're taking testimony on that. We're going to be coordinating with the standing committees to get your input on those things. So I'm going to be working with the chairs on that, but we'll be seeking your input. So please feel free to take a look at our webpage and take a look at the documents. If there's anything in there that you have questions, you are more than welcome to approach any one of us to ask about. Dates to remember is going to be that the budget adjustment will probably come to the floor, but the end of January. We don't have a hard date on that. But other dates that you may be interested in, maybe not. But January 17th, the E-Board will be meeting in the governor's ceremonial office, and that's where the economist will give us that reset on what our money is and what our outlook looks like. And that's an important part of us structuring what we have to work from on the next budget, which will be coming. The budget address, if you haven't heard, the governor will be coming in on Friday, January 20th. I don't know the time yet, but typically it's in the afternoon, and he'll present his 2024 budget proposal. And I'm sure I'll be back again when we actually put the BAA out with some more details on that. Any questions? Representative Cox, I don't know if your hand is up or just waving at me. Maybe not. Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Come and visit us. We're doing 11.
Thank you, Representative Lanfer, and all of the members of Appropriations Committee. Hard at work. Okay, next up is Representative McCarthy, who's going to give us a summary of a bill coming out of their committee, GovOps, very quickly. Town meeting and open meeting bill. So, Representative McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Representative Long. So I am the new chair of the House Government Operations and Military Affairs Committee, Mike McCarthy. So many of you have probably read in Digger or heard from your local town officials that there are some town meeting day provisions that we've had for the last couple of years that many of them really need to see reauthorized, and that the authority to hold public meetings that are subject to our open meeting law fully remote without a physical location, that is expiring actually on January 15th. So there's some urgency out in our communities that we are hoping to address. So my committee this afternoon will be hearing first proposal of some language that has been looked at by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, folks from the Secretary of State's office, regional planners, and some others, to just do an extension of those authorities that last biennium were passed originally in Act 1 and then extended in Acts 77, 78, and 79. And we'll look to do a temporary reauthorization of many of those provisions, allowing for those open meetings to be held remotely, allowing for towns to move their town meeting date, the date of their municipal meeting, to use Australian balloting if that's not their normal procedure. This is all it's allowing towns to take advantage of these. So towns that decide to do their town meeting day the old fashioned way, they don't have to change anything. But for the last couple of town meetings, many towns have adopted different methods than they had previously. And we want to allow that to occur at least for this biennium. So right now, the draft would have all of these authorizations expire July 1st of 2024. And what that would do is make it so that there's some pressure on us to not be in a rush next biennium, but this biennium to look at the long-term questions about equity of access when it comes to these remote meetings, and what the nature of town meeting day authorization should be moving forward. So yeah, if you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to take a couple. Sarita, Representative Austin. That's a great question that I don't know the answer to. So Representative Austin, for the folks watching on Zoom, asked, is there data that's been collected about differences in public engagement? How engaged was the public in public meetings during the COVID era? I'm not sure how robust that data is, but we'll ask some of those questions to folks when we're taking testimony. There hasn't been any committee testimony yet. We're just going to hear the bill presentation today, take some testimony today and tomorrow, and hopefully move these temporary extensions of the authorization quickly. But I think those are really good questions to ask for the future. Representative Mahali. Yeah, so many towns are facing a deadline to actually warn their town meetings. And so they want to know if their deadline to get to the printer is tonight, will they have this authorization? So what I can say is that while I cannot guarantee that my committee, the body, the Senate committee that has jurisdiction, and the Senate and the governor will all do what I think they're going to do, I would say that I think that we all are moving in the direction of rapidly doing this temporary extension. So we're trying to give some confidence, but I don't want to guarantee that there won't be some kind of surprise, but we'll move these reauthorizations along as quickly as possible. Representative Andriana.
I'm just curious, would these provisions only apply to town meeting day, or would they apply to any meeting in the municipality that is open to subject to the open meetings?
Yeah, so the authorization and the rules about how you need to warn a remote meeting will apply to all meetings of public bodies that are subject to the open meeting law. But most of the bill is about town meeting day. So there's sort of the one chunk about remote meeting generally, and then there's the specific stuff about town meeting day. Great question. All right, I think, thank you, Representative Wong.
Thank you. Thank you to the GovOps committee and Representative McCarthy for taking this on and speeding it up. I think we've all been hearing from, or many of us have been hearing from our constituents on this and our municipal leaders. Okay, last up, we have a bill, draft bill, one that will be at some point soon, I think, introduced on paid family and medical leave. There's been an awful lot of work being done to get this ready. Caucus priority for us. And Representative Kornheiser is going to be doing, are you on your own today, or you might have some? Okay, so Representative Kornheiser will be speaking to it, as well as backup with Representative Stevens. So I'll turn it over to you guys. Thank you.
And just a tiny comment on the last presentation. If you happen to notice that Brattleboro is mentioned in every single bill related to town meeting, it's because we have a strange and different town meeting than any other town in the state. So if you're just like, what's the deal with Brattleboro? That's the deal with Brattleboro, sorry. So in more political news, hi, I am Emily Kornheiser. I'm the chair of Ways and Means, here with Representative Stevens, the chair of House General. And I'm going to talk to you about family medical leave. So we've made important strides in improving family well-being for fellow Vermonters with last year's passage of the child tax credit, the expanded earned income tax credit, and massive investments in housing, as well as a lot of other incredible work we did last biennium. And we can fulfill a promise to Vermonters with the passage of universal family and medical leave and affordable, accessible childcare funding. We know, all of us in this room, and I'm so excited for this new group of legislators who I feel like are particularly living some of this, that when caregivers are supported and kids' basic needs are met, we're stronger as a state. We know that all Vermonters will need to take time to recover from an illness or injury, bond with a new child, care for a loved one, support someone through a deployment at some point in their lives. And ensuring that we can each do that without falling behind financially is the right thing to do, and it's really good public policy. So 65% of Vermonters right now don't have access to paid family and medical leave. I'm one of those people. This includes a disproportionate share of low-wage workers, Black and brown workers, and parents. Those workers are forced to either come to work sick or injured, delay or cancel treatments, and become sicker, forgo bonding and recovery time, which we know contributes to much better child outcomes, or take unpaid leave that jeopardizes their family's financial security at a time that we know so many families are struggling financially. And we know that we need to do better as a state. So what is paid family medical leave for folks who have not been wrapped up in this debate for the better part of a decade? It's a social insurance program that allows people to take necessary time off of work to welcome a new child to the family through birth, adoption, foster placement. It's also to care for a seriously injured or ill family member, or to recover from your own illness or injury, and to do so without facing financial hardship from the loss of income. The bill as introduced will also cover military family needs, such as deployment time or preparation for deployment, as well as safe time for people impacted by intimate partner violence. And these are the kind of provisions that we had time to add into this bill after we've had some perhaps unwelcome time in the interim since we first started this conversation. So the bill that we are introducing that is now being circulated, Kath James has it and is going to start passing it around for sign-on, contains the following provisions. All workers are covered, part-time, full-time, seasonal, self-employed with comprehensive coverage. That includes 12 weeks of leave for parent, family, and personal medical leave without gender distinction, leave for caregiving for family members, for deployment, and for safe leave. It is adequate wage replacement, high enough to ensure all workers can afford to take the leave that they need. If the wage replacement is not high enough, then many workers won't be able to take the opportunity that we're offering here. We are looking at 100% wage replacement for workers making at or less than the average weekly wage in Vermont. We are paying for this program with insurance premiums paid by all workers and exempting the pay of our lowest wage workers into the pool. As privatization of public goods and services has been shown to worsen inequities, our strong paid leave program is going to be administered by the state, so it is accountable to Vermonters. The extra time that we've had with this bill, due to the governor's unfortunate veto a few years ago, we were able to learn from other states' best practices as more and more states have rolled out these programs and developed much more inclusive family definitions to meet the needs of today's workforce and set in place clearer job protections. Vermonters and all of us in this room know that the health and resilience of our families and communities are integrally connected. Last year, we put those values into practice, and we are ready to build on the lessons of the pandemic and the promise that each of us have made to our communities by implementing these policies. As lawmakers in this room, we have the power, the ability, and the responsibility to make this happen. I encourage each of you to sign on. Again, the bill is circulating, and if you're a person who likes to read things thoroughly, which is a great kind of person to be, I am happy to email you a copy of the bill and send you a form for an electronic sign-on. You're also welcome to sign on paper, and you can follow up with me later. If you have any questions about the bill, you are welcome to connect to any of the 3 lead sponsors, myself, Chair Stevens, and Representative Robin Shai, who's not here today, but is very easy to communicate with via email and available to you as well. Thank you very much. Any questions for me or Tom? Yes. Well, that's a fun surprise when you read it, but we're actually looking at the Treasury to do it. Thank you. He said he likes the answer for anyone who couldn't hear. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And do you mind telling me your name? I'm sorry. Joe Andriana from Orwell is wondering to a few more details on how it's paid for. So it'll be an insurance premium that would be paid out of either payroll if someone's a wage employee, or in sort of regular premium payments to the state if, or quarterly payments to the state if someone's a self-employed worker. The exact numbers are on the bill, and I'm not getting into them today because I don't have the bill in front of me since you all have it in front of you. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Representative Krasnow, for your vote of confidence and the really powerful story you just told. Yeah. So Representative Barbeco's question was, is treatment covered, substance use treatment covered, and long COVID treatment covered? So those would both be considered medical conditions or disabilities. So yes. Yeah. Representative Dodge asked what made us land on 12 weeks. We needed to land on something. And certainly the committee, I'm sure, will play with that number or debate constructively that number. 12 weeks is considered sort of the first, it's often referred to as the fourth trimester and is considered developmentally to be the most important bonding period for a family. And so that's why we landed on that. Yeah. Representative Austin asked about job protections after the period of leave ended. And yes, there are comprehensive job protections included in this bill. It's slightly more all of my answers are slightly more complex than what I answered. It's, there are a lot of pages in the bill, but yes. Yeah.
Representative Buss, does it help employers understand how they're supposed to handle hiring a substitute until the person comes back to work?
Representative Buss asked about supporting employers to understand the procedures for covering someone when someone else is out of work. And yes, there is language in the bill for that. Yes.
Is this 12 weeks annually or
Representative Christie asked if this is 12 weeks annually. So the 12 weeks is for bonding leave for new family configurations. And it is annually, though I imagine most families wouldn't take this all that many times annually because they wouldn't have all that many brand new people in their household. Yeah. Can you stand up so we can hear you better? I'm sorry. Thank you. Representative Granning asked about if there was anyone who wasn't covered or opt out. There is an opportunity for employers who have programs that they already offer that are comparable or better to opt out. And there's a lot of language around what that actually means. Yeah. Representative Rubio asked about the income level that is exempted. And I'm sorry, I don't have that number right in front of me. Yeah. Representative Holcomb, yeah. Representative Holcomb, I am sure that when the bill finishes its time in House General and comes over to Ways and Means, we will do that. Yeah, we're gonna have a little process intermission. Thank you.
I'm going to try to keep it a nuanced process. Just to be aware, the policy work will be done in general and housing as it was done 4 years ago, 3 years ago. When that bill, if that bill passes through our committee, it will then go through the clerk's office and then go to Ways and Means because of the financial implications. So when we're talking about what's being introduced in the bill and what's going to get tweaked through conversation, that's the process we're undergoing. And so in years past, what gets introduced has not necessarily matched what went on the floor by the end of this process. And I would expect some of that would happen here as well. So the curiosity and the question about the specifics in the bill as introduced is very important for us, but we're going to be hearing. And if there's something missing and that we can put it into the bill, then we will. The other thing I just wanted to mention too is that this bill does increase what the family definitions are. So there's a very broad definition of what family can be. And those changes are also going to happen to the unpaid portion of family leave, which we are, of course, retaining because people may need to take more than 12 weeks at any given time. So that under the conditions that our laws already exist for unpaid leave, those will be improved as well.
And so the policy work is done in House General. It comes to Ways and Means, which will look at the revenue pieces, which is the sort of ongoing costs. And then it will stop and spend some real time and appropriations because there's going to be an initial one-time setup cost for the administration of it. And then it will come to the floor. And then it will go to the Senate. And then all those things will happen again. Yes. You, Julia. Yes, there are different periods of time for safe time, for deployment support, for sick leave, for caring for someone else who's sick. All of those things have different time ranges. And I am, again, happy to send the bill to anyone who wants to read it thoroughly for all those numbers. Yes. So we got our family definition from Colorado. Rhode Island has been doing this very successfully, sort of since the beginning of time. Delaware has a new and very successful program, as does Washington, D.C., that we looked at because they have a similar population size, though differently concentrated, of course. And again, we'll circulate much more information that sort of covers all of those things. Yeah, Heather. The bill, Representative Supernaut's question was, are farm workers exempt? The bill as introduced does not have any of those exemptions. And again, it includes self-employed folks. So a person who owns the farm or is the lead farmer would be included just as much as someone who was working at the farm. Yeah.
So the last bill that we had, after analysis, it was determined that it would be cheaper or more reasonable to have the bill administered by an insurance company rather than setting up the entire arm of the Treasury Department. Wondering if that's been anything that's been considered or.
Representative Troiano asked about if there's been consideration about privately administering the program. One of the core values I try to carry with me, and of course, I'm sure this will be debated much more once this goes to policy committees, but one of my core values as a legislator is that sometimes things are less expensive up front, but they wind up being more expensive in the long run. And folks having faith and trust in this program and ensuring that the program is, the program administrators are committed to folks getting what they need from it, accessing the benefits as easily as possible, and having accountable relationships that legislators can support is a very important part of this bill to me. And so I think about the long-term costs of this program that we're hoping to see further into the future when we support a public option for it. Okay, thank you. And again, the bill is circulating. Really appreciate the whole caucus's sign on this. We are just going to be circulating throughout the week, and I will send around an email as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Kornheiser and Representative Stevens. As you can see, this one's in the works, and don't hesitate to reach out. I have one more bill that I totally spaced out that I asked somebody to report on so don't leave, even though I had said that was the last one. But before I go to Representative Wood, you can come up because this is only going to take a second. I'm just going to say right now, Representative Kornheiser was wonderful about repeating questions because I asked her to. next week, our fantastic IDT department has offered to see if they can have walk around mics. So we're going to try to do that. Thank you to the IT department. Again, staff is fantastic here because I don't want everybody to have to repeat things twice. So if you can speak into a microphone, live stream can hear it. And I don't want to make everybody come up to the front. I think walking around might help. Transparency is incredibly important to me. So I want to make sure that folks who are viewing this online will be able to hear everyone. So Representative Wood, she's going to speak to a technical corrections bill that is coming out of her committee at rapid speed, I believe.
Yes, yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Representative Teresa Wood. I'm from Waterbury, and I'm the new chair of the House Human Services Committee. Last year, we passed a bill, H720, that dealt with the Department of Disabilities, Aging and Independent Living, and specifically around services for individuals with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities. We had a conference committee on that bill. It dealt with conflict-free case management, which you're going to hear more about this session, dealt with housing options and alternatives for people with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities, and payment reform. When it got to the Senate, they made some changes, some that we thought were okay and others that we didn't think were okay. We had a conference committee. And in the end, the House agreed to some of the language from the Senate. However, in drafting, this is the importance of one word. In drafting, the lead-in language used the word reseed instead of the word accede. That, of course, changed the entire meaning of Section 6 of the bill. And so we intended to accede to the Senate's version of Section 6, which did not happen. The governor was going to veto this bill. However, in this business, as you know now or will soon learn, your word is everything. And we promised that we would take this bill up, this technical correction, as the first bill that we passed out of our committee, which I hope to be doing this week. So would appreciate your support on the floor for it. And as I said, it's a technical correction. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Representative Wood and the Human Services Committee. This is really important that we get this one moving quickly. Okay, that was it on bill reports, and that is it on our caucus, unless anybody has anything else they need to know, or if not, thank you so much for being here. I think this location is going to be great, but give me your feedback after this first one. Let me know how it went for you and what could be improved. Okay, have a great week, everyone. Thank you.